This is going to be such a fun project. I love how these turned out. So we're going to be working on butterflies and moths today. The first thing I want to show you is an important skill that you will need in watercolor, especially if you have limited palette like I have here. And if you go to our website and you order the paints that I use in every video, then you will have the same palette. So today I'm going to show you how to make black because this palette doesn't have black in it. If you already have black in your palette, then you can probably skip ahead, but I'm going to show you here how to make black. So the first thing I did was I put down the intense blue, which is the darker blue in the palette, and now I'm mixing intense blue with the burnt umber, which is the darker brown in your palette. I'm mixing those together, adding either more blue or more brown until I get a nice black that I like. I personally like my black to have a little more blue in it than brown, and so that is what I have come up with here. Now, I'm going to mix this and have it ready so that I have plenty, so that I don't have to mix it over and over again. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm putting a whole bunch down so that I have it for the future. Now, I'm going to say, wait a minute here, because in the video I started painting my butterfly using the black. I got a little ahead of myself when I remembered that I wanted to do all of the colors underneath the black first, just because that will be a lot easier. So here I am just doing ultramarine blue, and I'm just doing a stripe there at the bottom of my swallowtail butterfly. I'm just doing that on both sides. And as you can see, it's just right there at the bottom. And then I'm going to go and get some red. I'm going to just do those little circles on the swallowtail with my red. Okay. Now I'm just getting some cadmium yellow. That's your darker yellow. There's the lemon yellow and then the cadmium yellow. You want the cadmium yellow. It's a warmer yellow. And now I'm just going to fill in most of my butterfly with that yellow. And I'm using a smaller brush. This is a number 2 brush. For this, you can do a larger brush, like a number 4, 5, 6, but you will want your smaller brush when you start putting in those details later. So again, just filling in most of my butterfly with yellow. You can see why I wanted to wait on doing the black, because I don't want to muddy up my yellow color. And so it's just a lot easier to fill it in with yellow and then come over it with black later than it would be to try and just stay in all of those little areas. So here I'm just going to be extra careful not to get my black wet, so that it doesn't mix with that yellow, because I want my yellow to be really nice and bright. This is where it's really good to have a smaller brush. Make that yellow just a little bit darker over there. Okay, now it's time to come in with the black that I already made. And now I'm going to go over all these lines. If you are new at this and your hand's a little bit shaky when it comes to doing little details, feel free to just let that yellow dry, and then you can come in with a waterproof pen. I really like the Sharpie waterproof pens. So if you want, you can just color in all of these areas, but it is a great challenge to try and do it with your brush. So you decide. It definitely is a lot easier when you have a smaller brush, like a number 2. So here I am, I'm just going over all of the lines and coloring in the spots. I'm using my my picture there up in the right-hand corner as a reference. And that is included in your Nature's Art Kit. So make sure you print that out so that you've got a reference to know exactly where the black goes, and that will be very helpful to you. And just so you know, this reference picture that I'm looking at is going to be different than yours, because you're going to be looking at this exact painting after I'm done. I will scan this in and you'll have this as your reference photo. You can see that I'm not terribly concerned with getting the black really dark and deep on all of my details here. I just want to kind of fill it in, and then when I'm done, if there's areas that are a little too light, then I can always do a second layer on those areas. And you'll find as you get comfortable with your brush that it is a lot like a pen or a pencil, especially with a smaller brush. And so this is a great exercise to help you get comfortable with holding it like a pen or a pencil and just trusting yourself. Okay, and I'm just going over some of those areas that were a little bit lighter that are already dry. And then moving to the next wing. Okay, just finishing up little details here on this bottom wing. So exciting to see it all coming together. Now let's add our body. I'm just going to do a nice coat of black for the whole body. And I'm going to leave my antenna and the eyes. I'm going to leave those for later when I go over everything with my Sharpie pen. Okay, we're moving to the next wing. Okay, and we just fast forwarded our video a little bit here just for the sake of length. So here we are just finishing up the details of our swallowtail butterfly. Take your time on this. It should take you a while actually, but the result is just absolutely beautiful. So now I'm just going to come and get some more of my black and just go over some of the areas that I think need to be a little bit darker. So I'll just be layering my paint. Once it's dried, it's really easy to do more layers of paint to make it darker. Now I'm just going down to our moth. This is called a blue moth, and I'm sure there's a more scientific name. Go ahead and look it up if you're curious, and let me know if you've ever seen a blue moth. And then we're moving up to our cabbage butterfly, and we see these everywhere where we are here in Idaho, all around our garden. I love them. They look white when the sun is really bright, but then later on in the day, if you look really closely, they're more yellow with a little bit of green. I love the black detail at the tips of their wings. I chose to add a few little dots on mine. You don't have to do that, but I just wanted to do that. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to the blue moth, and I'm giving a little mixture of the intense blue and the aquamarine blue, ultramarine blue. And so just getting a nice blue color there. I'll get a little bit closer so that we can see what we're doing. So I'm still using my small number 2 brush and just filling in those wings with a nice mixture of blue. You can make this blue as intense or as light as you want. The blue moths that I've seen in my life are a little more of a dusty blue. So that's kind of what I was trying to do here. Okay, and then we're going to take some of that black that we already made and we're just going to do the tips. And kind of just lightly outline those wings. And there's a lot of little details on those wings that I'm not going to worry about painting. I'm going to just, I know that I'm coming in later with my waterproof Sharpie. So I'm just getting the main colors in with my paint. I'm just making it a little darker closer to the body. And then just kind of fanning it into my blue to make it all blend. Okay, now let's go to our cabbage butterfly. I have the same yellow that I used for the swallowtail, but I'm adding a lot of water so that it's mostly a really light yellow. The butterflies that I see, the yellow is closer to their body, So I'm just starting close to the body and then just kind of fanning out with just straight water. Again, I'm not worried about those details that are drawn on there because I know I'll just go over that with my Sharpie later. And now I'm just going to add a touch of the sap green, again, just right next to the body of that butterfly. Just move it around a little bit so it all flows together. And there we go. Okay, so the last part is to just outline everything with a Sharpie pen. You can do this or not, it's up to you, but it's great for all the little details on your butterflies and moths. So as I outline, I just want to remind you that we would love to see what you've created. You can share that on our Facebook page called The Nature's Art. Just take a picture and show us what you've done. Or you can share it on Instagram with the hashtag Nature's Art Kit, all one word, and we would love to see it. So we're just finishing up the outlines here. Again, I'm just going over the details, the little veins in the butterflies, and then their antenna and their eyes with the outline here. And after you've done that, you should pat yourself on the back because this was a tough one and you did great. We'll see you next time. Thank you. Goodbye.